Yo, what's up guys? I hope everyone's enjoying their weekend. So, it's Blessing 3 time, and today I'm going to compare the B3 to the B2 and the Dusk, as well as some other sets. So, let's just jump into it. Starting off with the pros, the B3 is incredibly resolving with great clarity and instrument separation and layering. So it's very transparent like a sheet of glass with little coloring to the sound. If you're looking for a neutral IEM, then this might be it. Treble is not overly done and extended, giving ample air to cymbals and female vocals, and I'm very happy to report that there's no masking in the mid-range or upper mids, making the sound very clean and light. And piano and guitar strings in particular are so clear in their decay and definition. Vocals are light, sweet, and very open and not close up or intimate. You can hear the air in the singer's voice as well as the final extension of the notes. The overall soundstage is very airy with great openness, but isn't on the same scale as the Dark Magician or EJO7, where sound goes around and behind you sometimes. Although imaging on the Blessing 3 is still pinpoint, fast, and accurate with no bloat. The bass on the other hand is snappy, quick, and tightly controlled with zero bleed or bloat into the other frequencies. The low end takes a step back and lets the upper mids and treble take focus, and to me the B3 is a bright leaning neutral with more emphasis on the higher end frequencies. This means micro nuances are more highlighted and audible, and notes appear sharper and more crisp. Again, it's not overly done like the Oracle Mark II, which can sound too artificial, and no way it doesn't float off, but it does get light on certain tracks with female vocals and in the bass. Speaking of the bass, this is where the Blessing 3 falls short to me. Simply put, it just needs more bass. I can feel that the two dynamic drivers operating in the low end are very capable, but it needs more volume, impact, slam to really create momentum in tracks like Good Kid, Mad City and Time, and overall just lacks the energy for hip-hop libraries. Instruments are very well separated, but it feels like I'm missing part of the song at times because the low end can sound recessed. I think the B3 can do another 3 dBs in the low end, and for bass heads, I'm rocking a 6 dB shelf right now and it sounds fantastic. The driver is very tactile and the texture and rumble is incredibly authoritative and heavy without anything falling apart or being distorted. Now, another nitpick I have would be the 6K peak that gets too spicy for me at higher volumes. This isn't an issue at mid volume, but it does hurt scaling, and it's also very song dependent since even at high volume, I don't find the 6K an issue on songs like Flower Town that has less high frequency instruments. But on songs like Motto or Hi, the cymbals and treble gets too much because they appear so often and there's just so much of them. And just like most Moondrop IEMs, vocals can also get thin. So comparing the B3 to the original B2, it's just an upgrade all across the board to me, way cleaner than the B2 with sharper note definition and improved instrument layering. But comparing it to the Dusk, it's more of a side grade since although the treble is more airy with slightly sharper note transients, the low end texture and extension on the B3 takes a hit since it's pulled back into the background and more recessed than the Dusk. Essentially, it's a slightly brighter Dusk with less bass. Personally, I would wait for the quote-unquote B3 Dusk version whenever that comes out and see if they change the bass or the 6K and make a decision then. If you use EQ, then I recommend adding a 5 dB low shelf at 60Hz 0.5Q and taming down the 6K by negative 1.5 dBs with peaking at 3Q. With this preset, it comes very close to the variations, like maybe 85 to 90%, but with better mid-bass, filling in the scoop, although the treble is not as smooth, which is where the last 10 to 15% is. Or the alternative is if you have some Alina or Tangent filters, then adding those on also helps with upping the bass and taming the upper mids, which is the setup that I'm currently rolling with. The more filters you put on, the less sharp it sounds and the more bass you get. Now, this is where it gets hard. Personally, I like my bass and tamer highs, so I wouldn't buy the B3 stock. But if your ears can handle more energy in general and don't mind less bass, then the Blessing 3 is pretty banging at its price, especially given its resolution and layering abilities. I think it can use less 6K and 15K, but on tech alone, the B3 is pretty competitive with way more expensive sets like the RS5, the Oracle, and to a degree even the EJO7M, although the staging is still better on the EJO7M. But that aside, it's your typical Moondrop house sound, so if you dig that sound, then go check it out. But if you don't, then there are other sets that are way cheaper like the Hexa or you can wait for Moondrop to release a quote-unquote Dusk version if they do, but that would be in the future and not concrete. So that's all for now today. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see everyone in the next video. Peace.